We'll bring in the legal side of this. That's the personal side. We have two great minds who understand this case very, very well. Criminal trial attorney, News Nation legal analyst, Sara Azari, and criminal defense attorney, Mark Geragos. Sara, on the prosecution side, you can tell whether or not somebody fell or was pushed. And what do you see as the, even though you're a defense attorney, what do you see on the prosecution side as the formula for why it's him?
Yeah, Chris, good to be with you. You know, yeah, I mean, I'm a defense attorney, but I definitely think there's very compelling evidence of guilt in this case. I've been following this case since the murders happened. The trial is up the street from, it's my home court. But look, a blunt force trauma to the torso and the head, that could potentially happen from a fall. But this idea that the defense is selling to the jury that essentially, you know, look at the evidence. He drives over to her house, he breaks into her house, he waits hours for her to come home, and then he strangles her. I mean, there was manual strangulation was in the autopsy, and then he has this lethal dose of nicotine in a syringe next to her body, but he just doesn't kill her. I mean, look, Mark and I can argue whatever we want to a jury. There's a lot of things are possible, but it's about whether it's plausible. And now the defense is saying, you know, he was really trying to use that on himself and commit suicide. I mean, is there not any other venue where he could commit suicide? I mean, it's just not really something this jury will buy, in my opinion. So I think this is these are really bad facts for him.
Mark Geragos, what's the best defense?
Well, the best defense is, number one, nobody else was present that I'm aware of who's going to testify to kind of that litany of facts that Sara just gave. And hi, Sara, how are you? And number two,
hi, Mark. There was a roommate. There was a roommate
who was not present at what was happening. I mean, the roommate isn't going to testify that he, she's not going to say, or the roommate's not going to say that he beat her and threw her over or pushed her off. And the coroner or the defense pathologist is going to come in, I would assume, and say that there is an equally likely possibility that this was from a fall. One of the things that I've been speculating on or been asked about is why would they have Drew Carey? And I would assume that they have interviewed him, that the law enforcement has, that the defense is given that during discovery. The defense saw something in the interview that they thought was helpful, and they want to cover their bases, and that's why they've interviewed him, and potentially that's why they want to call him, because there's something in what he said that fits in with the defense, would be my uninformed but speculation based on a couple of years trying cases.
Sara, the aspect of a change in appearance and what that means in this case, what is that?
I mean, that's very common, Chris. You know, Mark knows this too. I've had tattoos removed from clients' necks. I've had gel taken out of their hair. In the Robert Blake case, we took the dye out of his hair. We do that to distance our clients from the killer. And in this case, it's so incredibly drastic. He looks nothing like he did at the time of the murders, at the time that he dated Amie. So, you know, it's strategy. It's certainly, I mean, the weight that he gained could be from the mystery meat in county jail, but this overall look, like he looks like this nice neighbor next door, very academic, you know, that sort of, a jury looks at him and goes, really, could he do all these horrible things, you know? So that's really strategy on the defense's part. And to Mark's point, just one thing, Drew Carey was interviewed early on, and there was also text messages with him and Amie just days before the murder. And so there's always been this question of what does he know? What did he tell her? And, you know, as a new boyfriend, he probably has a lot of information about the crazy ex-boyfriend.
I mean, look, unless they can put together something that's impressive to a jury that she had a reason to want to end her own life, you know, look, this is going to be an interesting one for the jury and a hard one for the defense. Last quick word to you, Mark, please, and thank you.
All I was going to say is I would just hold on and wait for the defense. Let's see what the defense puts up there. I mean, you know, it's always great in the prosecution case until you get to the defense. Right. So let's see what happens.
Yeah, the presumption of innocence, I think it's called. I think there's a great podcast by that name also.
Yeah,
yeah,
you're supposed to keep that. You're supposed to keep that presumption until you go into the jury room to deliberate. Also, and yes,
hey,
Sarah does it along with Jim Griffin, right?
That's why I have your handsome hiney here, Garagos, to provide balance. Sara Azari, thank you very much. Mark Garagos, as always. Appreciate no jokes about the beard. Let me get out of here before that changes. So here is the break time. We're going for about 4 minutes and change. Dusty, if we can go to break now. Thank you very much. Thank you for holding that as long as you can so that they could come after me.